what is the best piece of advice that you've ever received? Was my question to you guys. And a lot of you have answered. We're going to go through your answers and see what we can find. And we're going to have a dialogue with the tarot about your experiences. Stay tuned. Watch this video. If you like my content, subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment. I always read the comments. So enjoy. The first comment is by L. She says, "Do not be afraid of knowing, and that advice was from you. It helps me in many areas of my life, including health, where I asked my doctor for certain tests. I experience a lot of anxiety related to health issues, and I keep reminding myself that even if scary, knowledge is power, and it's always better than blind hope." Okay, so L, thank you very much for bringing up advice that I have given you. I don't remember when I've said it, but this does sound like something I might have said. So let's see what the cards have to say about that. Knowing is always better. Truth is always better than not knowing or lies. And we have the 9 of Wands. So that's self-defense. Actually, the best way to protect yourself is not to protect yourself from the truth, but to protect yourself energetically from falsehood, from fakeness, your own denial, and obviously sometimes reality is unbearable, so we will fall into the habit of denial naturally, but that's something that happens automatically. When you have a choice, always choose the truth, because that's the only thing that can heal you, that can help you. Okay, moving on to Chief's comment. Chief says, "Labels are not for your benefit, they are for the benefit of others. Spending time agonizing over who or what you are is cold, will never help you be happy or find peace within yourself." Okay, so let's try that again. Spending time agonizing over who or what you are, cold, will never help you be happy or find peace with yourself. Being you is an act of letting yourself experience moments without judgment or rules about how you should respond. This advice I got years ago in my early 20s, and it was the final piece I needed to release myself from the expectations of others and begin to love me for me, no matter if it fit with someone else's label. All right, so labels. Labels are helping others and they are not helping you. So if you want to be on good terms with yourself, this is what I'm understanding from this. If you want to love yourself, labels are not your friend. And that sounds very true. That sounds meaningful. And we have the Lovers from the cards. It is this protective layer around these lovers. It's like a glass ball or like an energetic aura protecting them from external harm. And it's the intimacy of love in this case, self-love, that has beneficial properties. Labels are useful when, let's say, you go to therapy and there are different methods or different strategies in therapeutic practice, and those have different labels. And you can also receive a label from a therapist that will help with the healing process, because it's almost like a signpost. It's like a direction that you can go in, but it's not meant for you to identify with. It's not meant as a description of who you are either. It is simply a sign. It's simply for reference. So labeling yourself is always for the benefit of something external. But true self-love does not coincide with any labels that you've given to yourself or that others have given to you. It's always born in the moment. Okay. I hope I'm gonna say your name right. Kiritsugu Emiya says that most things in the book, The Power of Now, were useful for them, but they didn't specify a piece of advice. So we're gonna move on. Melissa says, don't let the bastards get you down. It helps me stand up against bullies, not only to them, but also in my mind, so I never adopt their negative perceptions of myself. Don't let the bastards get you down. Okay. I like that. It's got a certain comical flavor to it, and I feel like it eases the mood. It lights up a smile. Don't let the bastards get you down. What does the tarot say about that? 6 of Wands. Okay. 6 of Wands is the card of achievement and victory. And what you're saying reminds me of another piece of advice that I heard from somebody. The best revenge on your enemies or people who wished bad things for you is to become successful. It's the best thing you can do, is to really be the best version of yourself and be happy and find what makes you feel successful, find what makes you feel accomplished. And that's truly the best way to take revenge on them. Because if you start self-sabotaging, if you start self-harming or self-deprecating, it's just going to be what they wanted. So I think that's kind of what you're talking about here, right? Life for Dummies says, I was once told that I was born with 2 ears and only 1 mouth, so I should be doing twice as much listening as I do talking. Interesting. Okay. More listening and less talking. Let's see what the tarot has to say about that. 3 of Coins, 3 of Pentacles. Okay. All right, so the importance of teamwork is coming up here. I don't know how well you can see what is going on in this image, but it's these 3 pieces of this sort of pie chart that are being assembled by 3 different people. And the Three of Pentacles is all about coordinated efforts. People amplifying their own individual powers by joining forces with others, and that bringing in very specific, very tangible results. Now, my immediate thought regarding what you said is that listening needs to be active listening. So just listening passively and treating the other person's story or what they're saying to you as noise, it's not the right kind of attitude. So I would complement the advice with listen, even with your mouth. So asking the right kinds of questions is a part of being a good listener. Showing to the other person that you are engaged with what they are saying. If you really are, obviously you should not do this if you're pretending. But if you really want to turn to that other person with a constructive attitude, then your mouth should just as well be involved in the listening as your ears are. Okay, next. Aero says, or Arrow, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, sorry. Disregard anyone who doesn't believe in your dreams. Okay. Let's see what the cards have to say about that. On the face of it, it sounds reasonable. You want to do something, you want to achieve something, and people who don't believe that you can do it are only going to stand in your way, probably. Okay. Eight of Wands. Looks like lots of Wands cards want to come. The Eight of Wands it represents this energy of being on the move. Keep moving. If there are people around you who do not see what you're seeing, who are not aligned with your vision, even if, on the face of it, it might sound delusional or just really far-fetched what you want to do. If you really want to do it, if it's your desire to go in that direction, people who are not resonating, not harmonizing with that path will ultimately slow you down. Now, obviously, we need to bring in a little bit of rationality here. So let's say your plan is completely off kilter. Let's say that you want to assassinate the president, or you want to invest in some Bitcoin scheme, or you want to do something that's dangerous or just simply silly, and other people are seeing that even if it's your dream, you are doing something that is going to ultimately be bad for you. So I would say that it is true if you are keeping people around you who are naysayers to your dreams, they will slow you down, and you will not get as fast. You will not get to where you want to be as fast, because they will be an obstacle. But first, you need to be very careful and very sure of where you want to go. Where is that direction? What is that dream that is attracting you? What is it exactly? So it is important to be clear on where the dream can take you first. before you start dropping friends. But in general, if your dream is not dangerous, if it's not, if it doesn't have any potential massive downsides, then yes, I think the advice is good advice. You need to disregard people who are opposing your vision. Next is April's comment. Don't take anything personally. From the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I still struggle a lot with this, but this reminder helps me to come back to myself when I start questioning my own worth because of the way I've been treated. When people are hurting, they often act out pain or fear or shame, and when I can see that clearly in the moment and not take it personally, I am able to extend compassion to them and myself instead of internalizing their beliefs about me. Okay. Don't take anything personally. That's very hard sometimes, right? It's very difficult. Five of Wands. Looks like all the Wands cards want to come. 5 of Wands. 5 of Wands is the energy of comparison, the energy of competition, the energy of conflict. So, even if you are in a competition, even if it's somewhat of a zero-sum game and somebody wins, somebody loses, doesn't have to be personal. This makes me think of great sportsmanship, people who are amazing athletes or sports people who can lose in a really dignified way. And I think they have that ability to not take things personally. That's absolutely a psychological skill that we all need to acquire. And if you've ever seen somebody, let's say an athlete, lose with dignity, you know what I'm talking about. It can be almost as respectable, if not more respectable, than the glory of someone who's a winner. If someone can be a loser and still in a situation, not loser in a universal sense, because I don't think that exists, but you can be a loser in a specific context. And if you can lose with dignity, with grace and elegance, then it's almost as valuable and almost as it creates an admiration in people, really, because we all want to be able to do that, to not take things personally. This is a little bit different than what you were writing about, April, but that's what the cards wanted to add here, I think. Okay. Dr. Rajan Mehta, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm really not sure, and I'm sorry. In Sanskrit, Hindi, Brahmakar Vritti means see that one Lord in all living and non-living, visible and non-visible world. If one attains this state, he or she becomes completely liberated from the cycle of life and death and becomes one with the God. Okay, so this is very close to my heart because I believe that this is true. There is one entity, just one thing that you can call God, and we are all fragments of it. And everything, every living and non-living being is simply a segment of it, of this big, organic, chaotic thing. And so any separation is illusion. Any sense of division is simply a trick that we play on ourselves. So even individuals and separate consciousnesses are illusory and temporary. And I'm not going to draw a card for this because I think this advice is the mother of all advices, if I might say that. Because I think it's not even advice, it's a way of life, a way of looking at things. But thank you, Raja, and I thank you for mentioning that. Okay, so next is Corinne French. Just start, from my mom, when I was worried about a big piece of work. It applies to anything. Usually it's never as bad as you thought it would be, and even if it is, you're one step closer to getting it over with. Very, very good advice. Very simple, but very good. Let's see if we can make it a little more accessible to us, because saying it, just start. It sounds very simple, but how do you just start? And the Two of Cups appeared now. So it is communication, right? It is a dialogue that you start. Every time you do something, every time there's an action, a process begins, and then there's a response. And it just starts happening, and love grows, much like a relationship. You walk up to someone, you say hi, and they say hi back. And there's this amplification, this accumulation of positive energy. Your love can gain momentum and grow into something really beautiful, but it starts with this really small step. So your mom is right. You have nothing to lose by just starting. Even if it's a big, complicated thing, you cannot see all parts of the problem up front. You can try to imagine it, you can try to fantasize about it, but probably what you're imagining it to be is not accurate. So starting it is the essence. So I really agree with your mom. And thinking about it as if it was a relationship, starting by saying hello to the thing that you want to do. Let's say, just one example, let's say you want to write a book, a very long and complicated book, and it's a daunting task because you don't even know how to start. Well, starting it is by falling in love with it, but in order to fall in love with the project, you first need to say hi. You first need to perhaps do something that generates joy in your heart. That's very easy to do. That is in connection with the project itself. So it could be as simple as getting a nice pillow that you're going to be sitting on as you're writing this book, or finding a nice notebook where you're going to be taking notes, picking the right type that you're going to enjoy looking at as you're writing all those pages, all those long pages. But every day, just like your mom said, one little step closer, and focusing on accomplishing the steps that you really like first, so that you get into the mood, so that there's a relationship that's being forged between you and what you want to do. Okay. Next is Rasha. Okay. Rasha says, be gentle with yourself. Talking to myself kindly, being tolerant of my own mistakes and difficulties, and affirming myself help me to recover when hard things happen, and help me to be more tolerant and kind to others. Okay, so be gentle with yourself. All right, being gentle with yourself. Eight of Swords. Okay. The biggest threat to your success and who you are, or who you could be, is limiting beliefs about the self. And you are completely right in that. That poses a really big problem and a really big threat if you are not kind to yourself. The Eight of Swords is all about trapping yourself, not respecting yourself enough to give yourself space, forcing certain scenarios and certain thoughts onto yourself. So, true gentleness is recognizing that you are not a victim, that you have agency, and you can also gently motivate yourself to do more and do better, but it doesn't have to be forceful and aggressive. Just recently I was speaking to a new acquaintance of mine, and they told me a very scary story, and the candle is burned out. So I guess this is a signal that we should wrap up soon. I have one more comment to go through. Okay, but before that, let me just tell you about this story that I heard from my acquaintance. They were involved in sports, and at the time they didn't really want to go to a race, but they knew that they had to do it. So intellectually they were committed, but their body almost didn't want to do it. So they started punching themselves in the face, and they practically broke their jaw. And then they went to the race and did their thing with the broken jaw. But I was just completely baffled by the amount of violence inflicted on the self, the lack of gentleness, the misunderstanding of what true strength is. I just felt sorry for them. I didn't feel like they were a hero or they should be celebrated for this. I just felt really sorry for them, and I felt like this should have never happened. So, how do you gently motivate yourself in a situation like that? I'm sure that if you're not breaking your own jaw, if you're not terrorizing yourself into doing something, it improves your performance. I have no evidence for this, but I think it just stands to reason that if you don't threaten and push yourself around, better things happen. You're just simply able to perform better. So it's not only compassionate to do this to yourself and to others, to be gentle to yourself, but it's also the thing that makes sense. It's also improving your performance. Okay, moving on to the last comment I got. It doesn't have to be this hard. My mom, after seeing me working to keep my disintegrating relationship many years ago. I really like this because I think there's just something so kind, something so compassionate about that. She's not telling you what to do. She's not blaming you. She's not giving you any expectations. She's just saying it doesn't have to be this hard. So there's just something very loving about this. Now let's see what the cards have to say about this. Ten of Cups. All right. Doesn't have to be this hard. The Ten of Cups is the card of understanding and the warm embrace of people who are resonating on the same energetic and emotional level as you. When you find those kinds of people, things become easier, and I think your mom is right. It doesn't have to be this hard, which doesn't mean that it should be completely easy, of course. Even if you find people who you are resonating with and who you are on the same frequency, the same page with, there will be conflicts every now and then, and that's okay, and that's normal, but it should not feel like an uphill battle. It should not feel like you're struggling to make the connection, to have the connection continue or keep it alive. It should not feel draining. A good relationship should charge you and give you more confidence and create that feeling of positivity within you. So I think that's good advice. It doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to be completely easy, or should not be completely easy, because it's too easy. Then that's also suspicious. Then maybe it's not even a real relationship. But if it's every now and then there's a little bit of difficulty, but then you gain momentum and things get better, and you generally feel like the relationship is charging you and it's making you stronger, then you are on the right path. Thank you all for contributing to this video. Thank you for watching it. If you have any ideas, any pieces of advice that you have received in your life that you think is valuable to share, my comment section is open. Leave a comment. I would love to read your opinion. And I hope to see you next time.